Darkness falls, and with it, the truth emerges. In a world where the line between fact and fear is blurred, beneath the surface of forgotten towns and restless graves, hide secrets soaked in blood and whispers that never die. From the chilling depths of true crime to the unexplained shadows of the paranormal, we dive into the stories that haunt both past and present. Welcome to Realm of Darkness.
Oh, everybody!
Look
at that! Just like that, we switched spots. How are you guys? It's like
long time no see.
There it was. I was waiting for it. There it was.
There it is.
I'll drop dad jokes all day here, guys.
I love it. So we are here with Gary and John from Splintered Spirits, the podcast, and now we were just on their show. Now they are over here with us on our show.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for coming over.
Now we get to switch and ask you guys a bunch of questions.
Let's see if we're any good at answering questions. Well, yeah,
you know what's funny is Nate and I were just saying that behind the scenes. We're like, it's so weird for us to answer questions and not tell the same story, and it's a little bit more difficult.
Right. Well, no, thank you so much for having us. This is fun. This collab idea is really great, and I'm glad we're doing it for sure.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm excited to learn. So I'm not gonna lie, I kind of stalked you guys a little bit, and I heard that one of you is a little more skeptic and one is a little bit more of a believer. Would you guys classify yourself?
I would
classify you guys as stuff like that.
I get accused of being the skeptic, I think, but I think skeptic's the wrong word. I would say that I'm a noob. So people look at the way I ask questions, or I shouldn't even say people. I don't know who's saying that, but it's I think the fact that I ask a lot of questions. Yeah, right.
Tomorrow it'll be like on ChatGPT and Google.
Yeah, exactly. But I think people just asking a lot of questions about it. If you ask somebody a question about what they're doing, they think you're being critical, right? And they don't.
True.
As opposed to like wanting to understand it.
Yeah.
So that's where the skepticism comes from. But I'm definitely the one who is more, wondering what's happening, and just not, giving it that thing for sure.
Yeah.
And I always say you can't believe in something is there.
Yeah.
You can't believe in something is there. There's no belief. For me, there's no. I know it's there. At this point in the game, I know it's there. Well, let me just say this: something is there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Something is there.
Yes, and I like that you put it that way, because one of my first questions is, and I know you both are very seasoned in the field on many different levels, not just ghosts, but that you have talked all things supernatural, cryptids, and all of that. So when you think of a ghost or a spirit, do you consider that more of energy, residual, or like a conscious entity? Like how do you see it?
Go ahead, Gary. Go first.
No. This is the whole basis of Splintered Spirits, right? This is kind of how it started. So, John's theory is, and I guess I'll speak for him, is that spirits are memory attached to the energy that dissipates from our bodies when we pass. We all have electrical synapses in our brains. We still don't know what consciousness is, and to that effect. So is that the theory that we're relying on? It is those memories. Now those, the bigger question then becomes for us is that's why I always ask people, what are spirits? What do you think they are? And the people we talk to, is it, whose memories? You could be, if you're talking to a spirit, is it at a gravesite of a child? Is it the grieving mother's memories could that energy have gone across? And then is that memory from is it twice removed, if you right in a weird way. So anyway, that's right, John. Did I nail it? I think I've got
you nailed it on the head. It's when it comes to spirits, when it comes to human based, and I'm going to say interdimensional entities of human origin, not non-human, of human origin. It's I believe that they are memories, and whether there's a hidden spirit particle or it's electrons spinning a certain way when we decompose, and it imprints on the electrons, and then the atoms are switched from other electrons to the imprint, of houses, of lands, of areas, of people, objects. That's where it's, all theoretical. So, but the basis of it is memory when it comes to interdimensional entities of non-human origin, of human origin. Non-human origin's a little different.
So when you guys go into investigations like that or into locations, do you research it before you go in, or do you like to go in blind so that you don't have like a preconceived notion?
Actually, I don't fucking go anywhere. Number one, let's be very clear. I am not investigating dick. Nothing. John goes to places. I talk to people about where they went.
You unintentionally promised we're going to Ohio State.
I would listen. If I would go. I would go for sure. See? If I'm going with other people, I'm doing it. But I have there's nothing in me. There's a drive to I have to go and see if there's a spirit in this place. I'm like, all right, cool. I'll just talk to this guy and see what he saw. I'm happy with
just talking to the people.
100%, dude. Nate gets it.
I get it. As far as researching a place, no, I don't. And I know it's a little odd. I know a lot of people do tons of research before they go in somewhere. They want to know what they're dealing with. I'll give you an example of this. I recently went to the Chambly Hotel in Napanoch. I think it's Napanoch. That's how you pronounce it. In upstate New York, right? And my entire chat, there was over 500 people in the chat, and they know the history of this place. They know all about this place. It's a very famous, famously haunted spot. Everybody from Ghost Adventures to, YouTubers, and everybody goes there, right? So I go in there completely, but I have no idea. Bits and pieces from what I've heard over the years, right? But that's about it. I go in this place completely blind. And I'll give you a prime example where it's a good thing and a bad thing. They have a very famous entity that haunts the hotel called Sweet Thing. So when Sweet Thing comes through to me, I'm thinking it's one of the girls that worked at the brothel, because I was getting another one coming through a lot that night. So I'm like, oh, do Sweet Thing, and then luckily, the owner was in the chat, and she straight up said, "No, John, that's the cat."
Oh,
that's the cat. And what's wild is throughout the entire night, people are hearing meows. And I'm not hearing the meows because I believe that some frequency translates better through devices than, to me in-house, and vice versa. I'll hear things that I know I'm hearing that the audience won't hear, right? So I go in blind. I do that for the validity of my documentation. So that the good people know, hey, I have no idea what's going on here. Whatever's going to come through, you guys are going to watch me discover it and document it firsthand, with no contamination, no corruption, just, fresh eyes, fresh brain.
See, and I do love that because it brings an authenticity to investigating or to locations, because you're not going in with these preconceived notions. So you're not going to go in and you're looking for a girl named Sarah, and then you hear Sarah. So I think I said on your guys' podcast is the we'll say some people will fit this in. Some people, their brain are powerful tools, and if you're going in wanting to hear something or experience something, you could contaminate this location.
Right. Well, that's where pareidolia comes in for everything, for sounds and for all.
One of the banes of the paranormal.
Right.
Pareidolia.
Yeah.
Both audio and visual.
Yeah.
So when you guys are on your podcast and you're talking to different people, what do you think is the goal of the show? Do you want people to dive in and really experience it? Do you want them to have a mind of their own?
I would say so. I think that's a good
Can I
question.
answer this one? Can I answer this
Yeah,
one?
go ahead. I can say, yeah.
We want people to stay curious.
Yeah.
I mean, we want people to stay curious. Definitely an open mind, but curiosity. Ask questions without coming in with any judgment or preconceived notions on what you're listening to. And that's it. Stay curious.
I think look, it's primarily my eyes, right? It's this idea, because I don't know what any of this is, and I just don't know what it is. So it's I try to get these guests and these people on to give me crash courses and to tell me stuff, and I hope the audience is sort of getting a sense of that. They've never, because they've just watched it, right? They've just watched Ghost Hunters, they just watched these shows, and they don't really understand, oh, what is that? Why do they use that? Why are they asking that? Or, oh, what are those sticks that they're using? You know what I mean? Like, so there's some basics that are covered, and through when I do it, and I think the sort of style that John and I have is also almost it's the opposite of darkness. I think we come at it from a little bit more of a disruptor and a lighthearted, because I can't. You could be serious about a topic, but you don't have to take it seriously, right?
Yes.
We have to have fun with it, and that's kind of just something that we strive to do. But I don't want to sit here and just terrify you. I want to explore this space, and I want to laugh and have fun with it, because it's interesting. There's so many people, there's so many unexplainable things, and you have to be curious about it and have fun.
It's funny that you say that, because one of the things that Nate and I have noticed is if we go into a location and we're too serious, the evidence and just what's going on is kind of more. Now here's my dad joke. Dead. It's more dead. But if we start joking around and laughing and picking on each other, it's like the activity spikes. It's like it brings life weird to them, and that's things that we've experienced.
We're not paying attention to them, so they're going to start doing things.
Well, this is where I started telling John, I'm starting to develop my own theory of what we're dealing with, and I don't know if it's true, but I don't know if I am not sure if what we're dealing with is the dead. And what I think I'm starting to think consciousness is something that is more relevant to what people are going through. Like you said, right? When you're feeling good, you're getting a better, I don't know if you're not, for lack of a better word, manifesting what is happening. And depending on the people there, and just from the things that I hear from other people and how it comes through, is that what's happening? I mean, I don't know. It could be both, right? It could be both things. It could be none of it. But I just find that really interesting that you said that. It's like when you're in a good mood, it's a good time, and when it's in a bad mood, it's like, well, why is that? Are you feeding that? Are you creating that, or are they feeding? Like, I don't know, but I don't know. That's just, what do I know?
No, and I like that, because it does make you wonder if paranormal experiences are more like nature of reality, or if it's more of how the human brain interprets what's going on. And I guess we'll never know until we're on that side. But that's something that I do like to think about. And I think we even talked about is that person in that situation causing that evidence that they're getting?
Well, there was, one of the guys that I interviewed, Lloyd Auerbach, he told a story about an imprint, a haunting that was left by the living. And that's a whole different, that investigation led him to that. And it was an interesting sort of dynamic and a change in all of that thinking, where it's, oh, well, if these people left like such a mark into this space somehow, okay, well then that really to me changes a lot, and then then you start getting into like poltergeist agents and things like that, and that's a real manifestation of heavy emotion and all that causes things to fly across the room. So man, look, I don't know, that's the fun of this, right? That's the fun of this whole world we're playing in, to try to see what that is.
Nobody knows.
Nobody.
So with that, like with the imprints, because not a lot of people believe that energy can be imprinted, or that an event or whatever can make that happen. In your guys' research and talking to all these people, do you think that the energy imprints of people or events or tragedies can lead to hauntings and skinwalkers, cryptids, alien sightings, all of the supernatural.
Go ahead, John.
Yes and no. Yes and no. And the reason why I say yes and no is, like, for example, going to what Gary was talking about with Lloyd Auerbach's case. Basically, people were doing something always around 3 a.m. It imprinted in the house, right? And the new people that were there experienced it all the time. To say that, hey, the living is the reason why this is happening is interpreting the data one way. It could be that they fed something while they were there, something that was already there. And forever, whatever's going on, because listen, science has been proving that there are different dimensions every what's it called? It seems like every other day.
You're saying feed energy to something else, right?
Yes.
Is that what you mean?
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Feed energy to something else. We don't know how these dimensions work, right? We have absolutely no idea, and data can be interpreted so many different ways. So the reason why I say no is because I have been to some bad places where bad people have lived in my lifetime and have done horrific things. And those places turn into the nicest places once the chaos is over with and there's no issues, no nothing. But again, factors and variables, right? We don't know. We don't know the perfect storms. We don't know the perfect storms. Not just one storm, the perfect storms. So,
I mean, look, and I gotta be honest with you, I'm not sold on cryptids too much. I'm more apt to believe in ghosts than Bigfoot. I just feel like we would have found him. I just feel like we found him.
The argument to that, Gary.
The only monster. Hold on, wait. Let me finish. All the monsters. Like for me, monsters. Like just go to Australia. Like Australia's Monster Island. I mean, 100. That's. Everything wants to kill you there.
Spiders.
Yeah. And I'll say this too. I do believe if there is still anything left to find, it's in the ocean. Right. There's probably some really weird stuff in the ocean. I do believe octopuses are octopuses? Octopi?
Yeah. Octopi.
Octopi,
yeah.
I'm going to go with it. Yeah, octopus.
It's octopi.
It's funnier to say.
It is.
They're straight up aliens. They're from outer space. So I don't know if you've ever seen, like, they're like everything about an octopus is an alien. The way they change color, like they're just that's as far as my like cryptid belief goes.
Cryptids. And the other thing with cryptids too is that we discover what is it? I think 1,000 species a year on planet Earth that aren't in the ocean. I think it's only a small percentage that's in the actual ocean.
You're talking about like bugs and shit like that.
But hold on, listen. It still doesn't matter because we discover these species because of the lack of their intelligence, because they're just in their emotions, they're in their nature, they're in their instincts. What if there's something that's like us, say an aquatic ape? Or big feet. I say big feet because there's no way you know what I'm saying? He's got 2 big feet, not one, right? So the aquatic ape theory, what's it called? Big feet. These things, if you look at it probability wise, those things have a more higher chance of existing just from the data we have on planet Earth right now.
Well, and a lot of people believe that Bigfoot or big feet, I like that, is an interdimensional entity. They do believe that it originated with the Native American culture, and that it is more of a protection thing. And the reason why we don't catch them is because right before we do,
they're out.
Different dimensions. They're out.
Yeah.
Seems convenient, no?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I wish I could do that.
I mean, listen, did you guys see that viral video that circulated? I can't remember who the woman who put it out, but she was talking about her. She was telling the story that was delivered from a father to a son. the son was going to get into his line of work. The father was an underwater welder, which is one of the most dangerous jobs you can do.
Yeah.
Right? It's one of the most dangerous blue collar jobs you can do. All right. And he expressed to him that he didn't want him to follow in his footsteps, not because of the danger of the job, what he experienced after he retired. After he retired, he ended up getting contracted to go on a boat. He thought he was just going to do what he normally does, make a little extra scratch, and come to find out it's a militarized fishing boat that was hunting aquatic apes. And the story was insane. What they were doing, how it was. I mean, listening to this story, it was just nuts. But it was like, it really made you think. It really.
Listen, I only got room up here for ghosts right now. I can't add. I cannot add mermaid, ape, all.
I was
this
about
shit.
to say like mermaids and stuff.
I can't add it. It's just
Well, listen. You just think of it like this. You tell me if it's not strange. You guys remember the mockumentary that came out years ago
on mermaids?
On mermaids.
Yes,
on
dude, I worked at Discovery. I know who
yes.
produced it.
Okay.
I know who wrote it.
Dude, all right. So you have a perfect inside. It is
100% fake.
It is 100% fake. But how did they get the military, the Navy, testing sonar weapons correctly? These were. You see,
what are you talking about? I don't know. I don't.
Okay. So what started the whole story was that the military was testing sonar weapons, which caused the dolphins and the orca whales.
Yeah, but that's just. They just made, but dude, that story was out. I mean, they just incorporated it into the documentary.
Just like you said about big feats, that's convenient.
No, right. But they used that story to build a mermaid story. I mean, that's a whole. Look, this is a whole episode.
No, I'm loving this. Keep going.
Oh yeah, you guys like this?
I'm loving this because I like to be. I mean, I try to be open-minded with a lot of things because I believe people's experiences are their experiences. Well, whether it's out there or in here, whatever. But there are some things I just find really hard to believe in. And like with mermaids, I don't know why, but that's one thing that I can't put that in my belief.
Well, hold on, Ashley, is the Little Mermaid in your head?
No.
Is it, or is it like?
Well, I think
because the aquatic ape theory and Little Mermaid is very different. Because
I think logically in my head, I try to think they're like, if the human body or a form of it was in water so long, it would be hairless. There'd be no way. And, are these people, they're not making little coconut shell bras. And I think it's just,
it's a bunch of lonely guys who used to be in a boat for 3 months at a time who wanted to bang a manatee is what it is.
Look at this stuff. Isn't it neat?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, that's kind of really where it's like, hey,
where it started.
You see you see the blowhole on that thing?
That should be a t-shirt.
Right? Like, woohoo!
Yeah.
I don't like that. Well, and when you're out in the dark, I mean, the ocean is vast.
Terrifying. It's terrifying.
Black
it's monster soup.
night.
It is monster soup.
Yes. And so when you're looking over, I mean, I'm sure people's eyes can play tricks on them or their mind or whatever. So yeah, I don't know. That's something that's a little harder for me to believe.
Yeah.
But so I'm glad
I don't know if we went off track of your question on that one, but it's like,
yeah, sorry about that.
No, that actually, it kind of leads into something like a little bit, like, do you think if, I like that we went off this rail because it kind of brings me back a little bit. So do you think that if we ever scientifically are able to provide what a spirit or what a Bigfoot is, do you think it's going to take out that meaningfulness of it?
No.
In what way? I guess so. In what way? Like if we caged one, we caught it.
Like I think that excitement that lures people in, and the excitement of, oh, am I going to be the first person to catch a Bigfoot, or is this real? If we were literally scientifically able to prove it, would it take the meaningful or the mysteriousness away from it, and people wouldn't be so intrigued?
No, I don't think it would. In fact, what I think it would do is start tearing down religious walls and personal belief walls. What I think it would do, let's say hypothetically we did catch a mermaid, right? It would turn around. And not only would it blow everybody's mind, instead of going, oh, what's out there? You know, the mystery of it, the love of it. Then it turns to, you know, what else is around us that we have no idea. And I think it would feed and be an explosion of wonder and, you know, amazement.
I guess I'm too cynical. I think people are not that smart.
That's my thing.
I think they'll just put it in a cage in the zoo and they'll be like, all right,
some will. Well, the religious fanatics will. Yeah, some people will. But people like us, let's be real. If all of a sudden, you know, you get to go see a mermaid or a Bigfoot or a spirit, you know, trapped in glass, you know, you're gonna go, oh, well, wait a second.
But
what else is going on?
Do you think it would die out with the generations? Because you think it might be exciting to us, but our grandkids or great grandkids, because they grow up with something like that, it just takes.
Yeah, I think.
I don't think it would die out with the generations.
They'd find something new.
Well, that's the thing. Yes, of course, they would find the next thing and the next thing. It would lead to that area of exploration. But what I think is more probable happening is the power players coming in and putting a kibosh on everything just to get people back under control. You know, the religious side of it, the political side of it, it would be, you know, it's almost like the topic of aliens right now. With everything going on with aliens and Congress and all that, you know, it's like, so think about it like that.
Here's a question too, as a follow-up. Say somebody does catch something like that. Do you think we live in an age now where people could just type things into ChatGPT and all this stuff and like AI it? And you need to physically see it as proof, or are you just going to take somebody's word for it as opposed to like actually? Yeah,
there's going to be a fraction of the population, bro, that's not going to believe it no matter what you do, right?
Yeah,
and it's funny. I did an interview.
Different angles. If I could get a video of something on different angles.
But you know, it's funny. We have a couple interviews coming
right
up
now
with real skeptics, right, on the pod, like real skeptics from like the CFI, the Center for Inquiry, and you know, I asked, and great guys, you know, super, very friendly to talk to, really awesome guys. And this guy Ben Radford is coming up, and I asked him, I said, what could I show you? You know, you're always out there, and you're like, you know, he goes on hunts, he goes on investigating. Like, what can I show you? You know, if I showed you evidence that would say this is, you know, that would make you believe, right? A scientist, a true scientist in the United States will look at a report from a scientist in another country and look at it and study the data and say, oh, okay, well, they did this, they tested it on this many people, they went there, they did this test, they did this test, they did this. This is the new way. They would just accept it as part of the community, right? Because that's how science works. Like,
they test it out and then they accept it. Yeah,
they would have the data, and it's like, this is what he did.
Peer review,
peer review, triple blind, all this stuff. Here's the data. This is the new way. The guy would take it and be like, oh, I guess this is the way. Norway did it. Now it's the way. That's how science and medicine work. It doesn't work that way in the paranormal. I don't think there's anything you could ever give anyone. Like, we went through the house with EMF meters before anybody was in there. This is what it read. We went there with the medium and the Ouija board, and we did it again, and these were the fluctuations. And then we set up cameras for 16 days, and we had this, and then when we did this is the change. Like, if you showed that, like, you did it, right? We sent in a placebo and a fake group, and then we sent in real group, and then we sent in medium, no matter what. And then all these things change. I don't think until they experience it, they'll ever believe it, no matter how your testing works. And when it comes to this stuff, right? So it's like, so for Bigfoot, if he caught him, and there's with AI out there, I think at first it's going to be, people like, wow, that's, you know, they're going to look at the source that they trust and they'll believe it. And there's going to be a few people that will never believe it, no matter what it is, until they go to San Diego Zoo and see it for themselves, right?
Do you know when they will believe it?
What?
But they can find it on Pornhub.
Yes. Right. Yeah.
But is it true?
That is probably true.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I know that you guys. I know that we have like 10 minutes left, so I want to shift focus and go back to the podcast and the show that you guys have. So, have you guys? First of all, what gave you guys the idea to come up with the show and to come up with the name and kind of the basis of it?
Sure. When John's following started to explode about a year and a half ago, right? It went up to like 500,000 followers. Then he was getting close. I was like, okay, I'm a producer out here. I'm like, okay, what can we do? How can we format this and make a show out of what you're doing? And then it started to build up to 1 million followers. And then one of the ways we thought we would test the format is through a podcast format. But then after the first real sort of interview, when I sat down with him, it sort of changed the focus of what it was. Like, oh, a format of here is like, what are spirits, right? So that's the idea, the underlying theme of it. How do we answer that question? Who do we have to talk to? How do we stay curious in that space and interview and visit and see all these things? And then the title Splintered Spirits is this idea of his theory, right? And proving his theory, and like that spirits are the fractured memories of the living that dissipate from the energy that releases when we pass, right? Because energy can't be created or destroyed. So that's the evolution of it and where we are now and how we keep going. So it's like everybody we meet is somehow connected to that idea, or we try to interview what are spirits from, in that angle, or from every angle, or even if they're not a spiritual paranormal angle, they're giving an academic side of it or the skeptic side of it. But it's a big umbrella, right? That I could put a lot under, but still stay within theme.
Yeah, and one of the things I like about your guys' show is, like you said, it does cover such a big range that it gives people that are maybe trying to get into the field certain topics that they can start to look into, people that they could follow, people they could, if there's a medium that they're really connecting with. So I like that you have so many different people of so many different backgrounds on the show. And I think that's beneficial for people that are in the field, but also trying to get into the field. And I think it's a really cool concept. So
thank you.
I'm glad
We're trying.
I'm glad you guys did it. So, so on the show, because you guys have quite a few episodes. I mean, you guys have been doing this for a while. Is there one guest that you had that really stands out that kind of either blew your mind or changed your perception on something?
The guest for me, I could say for me, the guest was Steve Parsons, who I interviewed. Steve Parsons is a British paranormal investigator, ghost hunter, classic ghost hunter. He's been doing it for like 40 some odd years. He wrote a couple books, Ghostology or something, but his whole outlook on it was very back to basics, right? And then it really, when you look at the evolution of ghost hunting, he was ghost hunting before Taps was doing ghost hunters, right? And then ghost hunters changed how everybody started ghost hunting. Rightfully so. They were super popular and likable and doing their thing. It was great, incredible, but it changed everything. So and some of the things he said when you read his book, it's like, listen, man, you're using all this gear and you have no idea what it's actually for. It's like an EMF meter does not detect ghosts. It detects electromagnetic fields. And nobody knows if ghosts give off electromagnetic fields. You just think it does because you saw it on television.
That's what I have to remind everybody. So live, yeah.
And that was sort of like so. For someone to make you think, and he is a ghost hunter. He is not a debunker. He is not a skeptic. He's like, I show up when he shows up to clients. He has a pen and pad because he wants that human experience of what they went through and to try to start the investigation. And they're looking at him like, "Where's your van full of Pelican cases and gear? Are you supposed to have that?" And he's like, no, I don't have that. So for me, that was like, as a guest, that was like an eye opening, like, oh, okay, this is how I should, look at things, know. John, is there anyone that stood out to you that was like?
Well, it's real interesting because I look at all the guests we have on and I go, okay, well, how does their experience, how does what they do apply to my theories about spirits being memory? Because you ask anybody, we asked you guys today, we ask all our guests, what are spirits? And, the answers are usually generally the same, or it's, I have no idea, and so I have a theory. I have an idea. It's rooted in science. It's theoretical, of course. So I try to, so basically all of the guests, I look at their experiences, how they do things. And I go, how does that data that I'm getting from them, the word of mouth data, apply to spirits being memory? So, and it's a little different with mediums, you know, and psychics and whatnot, because that's their interpretation. Like, I always theorize that we see the woman in white, right? That woman in white, she's everywhere. What if that's just human perception? What if that woman in white is something different every time, but it's the frequency that our brains are receiving it on, putting the data in our mind and only perceiving it as a woman in white, when in reality it's something completely different. So that's what I try to do, and all the guests have been great, but it's the ones that are either in the field or have experience with spirits in general that I.
See, John's old hat at this, right? So he's coming at it from a whole different place than I am. So which is a really fun way.
Which is a great dynamic for the
dynamic is.
So it's like, for me, Kathy Nadal has been a guest on our show several times, and I've got more coming with her is a medium. She gave me like the first reading I ever got by a psychic, and it freaked me out. And I'll never get a reading by anybody else because now I don't trust it, right? Because they could just have seen the episode and then they could tell me, and she's the only person I'll ever go to. And I'd say best, probably like not best episode, but the episode also that blows our mind is when we had, much like the episode you were telling us about, where you had all those pieces to put together with the murder of the woman. This one was a telephone call from the dead that we have. So it's so one of John's mods on his TikTok was getting free. His mother passed away a little over a year ago. Was getting phone calls from her about 6 months after she died. And then John is in Indiana with him on a location doing a live, and about like halfway through the spirit box, it says "Mom's on the phone," and we captured it. Yes. And about a few minutes later, maybe 20 minutes later,
his mother calls.
His mother.
Oh my gosh!
And he's like, "Look," and you hear them talking about it. Now they're not on camera saying it, but he's like, "Hey, John, look," and he's like, and John goes, "Hey, dude, can I answer?" And he's like, "No, you can't answer." And it's like, and then it leaves a message, and then there's how your phone has a text to message. So we've got it now. The text, and then I got a guest. His name's Professor Cal Cooper, a British UK parapsychologist. He wrote a book, Telephone Calls from the Dead or from the Grave. We brought him on. We had Brian on. We played the video where they got the call, and then we played the call. And we got it all. And it's weird, man. And look, text to message doesn't match the voice message, but that's like a good episode for us, like in terms of, and not even our most viewed episode, but one that I look at like, man, all the pieces were there for some wild shit. And it was
a very personal episode, too.
Very personal.
I mean, to the podcast, to my stream,
That's a good friend of the pod. It was really wild.
Very, very personal.
And look, are there reasons why a voicemail is trapped in the cloud and comes through this guy's phone? Technical ones, I mean, of course. But what's crazy is, why does it happen when they're with John? Why did this thing, the voice spirit box, say that thing? Why does it happen to someone more when they're grieving, when they're not? Like, it's like that's the paranormal, not that this phone message came through.
And a little tidbit about that, it didn't stop until Brian, we were driving to a location, because I don't drive, so my mod Brian will drive me to locations.
He doesn't look like someone who has a driver?
Yeah.
When you see him, this is the first thing
I got drivers, but I'm missing a tooth,
So does he have a little hat?
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah, I would love the white gloves.
Yeah.
So, we're driving, and he turned to me and he goes, "John, I did what you always do, and I set my intent, and I said, Mom, I love you, but you need to stop calling me," is what he said.
And how hard would that have been for him?
It was very hard for him, but guess what? She stopped calling. What I will say, what's
crazy,
amazing,
right? It's great. Like
that's
great. That's great.
And what's amazing about that whole scenario is something that Ashley, you spoke about when we asked you the question about your first experience when you were a child. His mother was not doing well. She was in a very bad state. When these phone calls were coming in, it was like it was his mother from 20 years ago.
Yeah.
She sounded healthy, vibrant, happy. And I reminded him of that. I said, dude, that's what you should, of everything that's going on, that is what you need to concentrate on.
When I think that's why people need to understand that death is not a scary thing. because if you do have someone that is, unfortunately, their health is failing, I do believe that whatever energy is released or whatever energy does crossover, we'll say, they don't have the human restraints of pain and sickness. And it's just, I don't know. That's insane. I had goosebumps from that story. That's insane.
That's a fun one. That's one of our like up 12 or something. Guys, I unfortunately have to go.
I can stay for a few more minutes.
This has been. I gotta take my kid. I gotta do dad stuff. It's
dad jokes, right?
Yeah, he's sick of the dad jokes. I cannot thank you enough for allowing me to be a part of this. I really appreciate it. It's so fun. It's such a pleasure to meet you, and I hope we do it again. I mean, it really was great.
Thank you so much for being on. We had a blast. And we're going to Ohio State. Don't you forget.
I'll do it. I ain't sleeping there, but I'll do it. Sure. All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Gary, I'll talk to you later.
Bye, buddy. Adios.
So, John, for anybody that may not have been able to find your show yet, tell everybody where they can find the podcast, because it's on YouTube. Give your TikTok. I will also put all that out on the socials. But for anybody that might be new, where can they find you and where can they watch these?
So the podcast is available everywhere podcasts are available. You name it. YouTube, Apple, Spotify, everywhere. The podcast is everywhere. As for my nightly stream that I do, the Santa Paranormal, that is on TikTok and YouTube. And then I'm also on everything else, Santa Paranormal across the board. I upload all my content comes from my live streams. And, it's just, uploaded, chopped up and uploaded there. So, yeah.
Yeah. And if anybody is trying to find them and they can't, let me know. I will send you all their stuff. I've been posting it. So you guys can also go to our Facebooks and find it there as well. Mm-hmm. But, okay. So, John, I have a question for you. Mm-hmm. So do you think, now let me rephrase that. Is there any location that you have ever gone into that was so overwhelming or so changed your mind so much that you don't think you will ever go back?
No. I get, and I describe this all the time. For some odd reason, the things that scare me in life have nothing to do with the unknown. Mm-hmm. So I get excited. I get so excited when things happen. And it's not just the dark, evil, creepy stuff. Like, I used to have an old office in a factory, and I would get giddy when a factory worker would come through. Mm-hmm. And it was just, it's just, I love this stuff. I love this stuff. And so one spot that's been lost in the paranormal community for a lot of reasons. One, because it's dangerous, and not because of the paranormal element, because of the living element, is a place called Buckout Road. And it's located in Westchester County. People just don't go there because you can be killed. There's occult activity, homeless. There's just so much that happens in these woods. And the woods have been saturated in blood for hundreds of years. From native death to settler death to just, if you ever look into the place, it's wild, right? Yeah. There's so much speculation, so much lore, what's real, what's not real, what's in the middle. It's just so much, and it's one of those places that people just don't want to go back to if they have one of those experiences. And I love it. Like I'll walk through those woods and I'll hear something go, John.
Wow.
No spirit box, no nothing.
Just audibly.
Everybody on the stream hears it, and we're like, yo, what is that? Or we'll see the random lights in the woods that look like lanterns. What's threatening my life? It's I get excited. It's I don't know. I should be scared. Maybe I'm stupid. Yeah. Maybe I'm stupid and I should be scared, but I get excited.
It's the adrenaline rush you get from like getting that kind of thing. 100%. I totally know.
I do. I get so excited that I can't contain myself sometimes.
Yes, and I don't think people understand that, because like what we talked about when I got scratched my first time,
you sounded like you enjoyed it. Listen, I was going to make a joke on the podcast. You sounded like you liked it. It's like what happens if you walk into an S&M torture dungeon. Wow. The spirits are there with paddles. You're going to love it.
And that's the thing. And I think people who haven't experienced don't understand that rush, because it's validation that, oh my God, this happened. It happened to me. I know my surroundings. I know the environment. I know it couldn't be anything else. And it is. And I will say it is addicting. Even in some of our scariest moments, when I leave, I'm like, oh God, I can't wait to do it again. And there's been locations where I'm like, I will never go back. And then as soon as I get home, I'm like, okay, so when am I going back?
When you going back? Now, let me, I know you guys are supposed to be asking me the questions, but I got a question for the both of you, because something just jogged in my mind. Did you guys have a viral video or a video that circulated with the both of you in it and you had blonde hair?
With the streaks?
Yes.
So I did have blonde streaks up until recently, but I don't know if we...
Okay, so I must have seen a video of you guys previously, because I'm picturing you with blonde hair.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing your face, because we kind of look similar when I grow out my beard. So, you know, and I'm like, wait a minute, I've seen the two of them before. And it just hit me. Like, I was like, wait a minute, I see you guys.
Well, I do follow you on TikTok, so maybe one of our random videos, it's probably Nate making fun of me in some way, but yeah, so I do follow you. So I wonder if one of my videos like popped up or something.
Oh, maybe it's a possibility.
Yeah, she definitely did have blonde streaks though. Like, just
if not, maybe you just predicted something.
Oh, maybe.
Ah.
Who knows? Who knows? I'm always getting accused of being a psychic, so.
Yeah, so, you know, if you have a moment, let's talk about that. Because even Gary said that when he can go with other people and nothing happens, but when he's with you, things pop off. Has it always been that way with you? Or have you had to develop it, or when did you start noticing it? Like,
so I can inadvertently control it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Does that make any sense? And it has nothing to do with any special gifts. It has nothing to do with any special gifts. It's the person, it's the magnetic field, it's the emotion, it's the energy. Like, for example, if I'm in a really bad mood and I'm live, the spirit chatter and what comes through is completely different. It's not coherent. It's bits and pieces, more bits and pieces of things than normal. There's no fluid conversation. When I'm getting excited and overly excited, you know, things start popping off more and more, a lot more spirit communication. I can hype myself up so that it happens. And then sometimes I just don't got the energy to do it, where I just had a day and it's like, all right, I'm about to be live for, you know, between 4 and 7 hours. You know, let me conserve my energy and stretch it out. So I don't think I have any special gifts. I think this is something that everybody can do. And I've been on record saying this, I think the people that have special gifts are few and far between. And I put myself in the realm of a skeptic there because of so many people that claim, you know, X, Y, and Z. And it's like, all right, you know what? I'm going to go over here. And when I see somebody that, all right, maybe there's something there, then I'll pay attention to it. But I just, you know.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
That is exactly, because you asked us that question on your show, and that's something that we both struggle with answering, because we're like, we do have these instances where we're like, how did we do that? But we never claim to be it, because we don't, you know, people are going to want readings. People don't realize that, like, it depends on where you're at, who you're with, what you're doing. It's not, it's hard to control. And I think it's your mindset. Like you just said, it's your mindset. And I think it's kind of like where, you know, you have to be able to connect with a person. I think you need to be able to connect with the other side too, whether that's dimensions or spirits or whatever it is. If you don't have that connection, you're not going to be able to read them. And yeah, I'm right there with you too on that. It's a skeptical thing for me.
Yeah, and you know what's wild too is everyone uses the woo-woo words, you know, energy, this, that. The reality is, if we look at the science, we have kinetic energy. You know, our neurons, or whatever it is, a charge of positive 70 millivolts that fires neurons, and for me to move my arm or breathe and all that. And then magnetic field. We know magnetic field exists because that's how there's hospital equipment that test magnetic field for our heart and this, that, and the other. So, you know, kinetic and magnetic field, especially, the only energy we really have. at the end of the day. So that's another word I try to stay away from, is like the energy.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it has to be magnetic field. If we are manipulating our surroundings in any way, our friends, our family, spirits, anything, it has to be our magnetic fields. And our brains, believe it or not, somewhere in our brain, I think it's in the frontal lobe, or is it back by the stem? There's a spot that subconsciously registers magnetic fields. So our brains can actually do that, but it's on a subconscious level.
Yeah.
So
with that, because you've been doing this for a long time and you've been to a lot of different places, there's always conversations among investigators that do spirits or do entities remember, or can they, when you walk into a location or a location owner and the spirits remember them, do you think it's more of this magnetic field, or do you think that these spirits have the ability to communicate with each other and remember somebody, and that's why good people get good responses, bad people sometimes don't?
So when it comes to memory and spirits, it's interesting, right? Because as I stated, I believe that spirits are memory. But what if spirits had the ability to gain new memory? And that's what we'll call it. We'll call it new memory. And if that's the case, and they're able to gain new memory, how do they obtain that memory if they don't have a brain to just to create it and store it? Okay, so those are the hurdles with that. How do spirits remember other people? Now, interesting enough, and this is where I'll end that question. I got kicked out of the cemetery that I would always document at for bullshit reasons. Right, I ended up getting let back in, but I wasn't allowed there for months. When I went back in after being kicked out, none of the spirits remembered who I was, except for one. Okay, and I have no idea. Well, I ended up finding out why, because we left them a gift of a little brass cat, and they just remembered that I gave them that gift, and they were able to keep, I guess, my memory alive, if you will, of me. One spirit that was always annoyed with me when I was there, ended up liking me like a lot. And the one spirit, and the spirit, and this is, people credit me for the whole cemetery walks. I was the first guy to go out there and walk cemeteries and do all that and bring that to the forefront of social media. But the reality is, the spirit that did that was a spirit named Joseph T. June at this cemetery. And it was the conversations that I'd have with Joseph. We'd sit there, we'd have a cigarette. He would, now in New York, cigarettes have the chemical in it that make them go out if they're not being smoked. Okay, so they don't burn down houses and whatnot. So I'd light a cigarette for Joe, set it up on his headstone, and the entire fucking thing would burn, as if someone's pulling it. And I'd sit there and have, me and Joe would go back and forth and mock trolls that would come into the chat. Like there was legit conversations happening. So I come back to the cemetery and Joe hates me. Joe doesn't know who I am. Joe wants nothing to do with me.
Wow.
So that got my mind going. What are the factors and the variables that allowed this to happen? What allows them to have the new memory, keep the new memory, lose the new memory, and how does it all work? And it's just, it does it. When I think about it at the end of the day, it still blows my mind, because then it's like, wait a minute, what happens if a spirit starts gaining old memory? What happens? Is that the difference between a stronger spirit than a weaker spirit? Is there no such thing as residual? Is residual what we're calling the weakest of the weak in the field? It really makes you think, and it really makes you, your mind race.
Yeah.
So,
and it kind of, it does. It opens a whole different array of things where where you're like, I never thought of it like that.
And what's wild too is, and I always say this to people, I'm not an expert. Anybody that ever claims to be an expert, turn them off.
Yeah, exactly.
Turn them off.
Exactly.
They don't know what they're talking about. Turn them off. My theories and everything just comes from a place of the data that my experiences and the data that I'm obtaining. And the more and more data I get, the deeper the mystery goes. It really does. Like, it doesn't. It's not like we get a clear picture.
No.
The only thing that it helps in is I know when to strike. Like I can sit there, fire up a spirit box, and completely ignore the spirits, and then they'll say something, and it'll be like, "Oh, okay, hold on," and then I start talking to the spirit, and then it's a probability game.
Yeah.
But that's the only thing that's why, like, I'm pretty decent at what I do when it comes to communicating with spirits, because I know when to strike because of that. But, other than that, I know nothing. It's all theoretical. All theoretical.
That's half the fun.
That is half the fun.
Yeah.
That is half the fun.
And, unfortunately, I don't believe that anyone will ever truly have the answer. I think we'll find out when we get there.
And you know what, Ashley, I have to disagree with you.
Really?
I don't think we will. I don't think even when we get there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't think we will. I think, because think about it like this: we're only going to have our perspective.
Mm-hmm.
We're only going to have our perspective. So, and think about it. How many, no matter what you're using, whether you're using a spirit box on your cell phone, or you're using an AFM, FM, AM, or you're using, spirits are confused as shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
These spirits are confused. Half the time, they don't know where they are. They don't know who they are. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know where they're going. They're coming and going. They're angry. They're happy. They're sad. They're they don't know what is going on. And it makes you think, like, maybe ignorance is bliss. Maybe, when you die,
So then, do you think that the spirits that can communicate with mediums or people with abilities that can tell you, when someone's doing a reading and they're telling you things that other people shouldn't know, or they're telling family secrets or this and that, do you think it's a higher or more strong spirit, or do you think that
Well, hold on. Let me. All right, listen. I have to go, but I'm going to give you a few more minutes, because this question's deep. Okay, this question goes into a lot of layers. I don't think that mediums and psychics and all that are actually communicating with a spirit from heaven, or even a spirit talking to them in their ear. I believe that when we die, those memories that go, they go everywhere, right? However, whether it's theoretical spirit particles, whether it's electrons, they go everywhere. And we, as their living descendants, or people that we're not even blood related to, that we're close to, we get some of them. Some of them actually goes to us. That's why people will smell their, listen, your father was a mechanic and he smoked Marlboro Red 100s. He came home from work. He went right into the bathroom. He took the biggest shit of his life. He smelled like oil. He smelled like Red 100s. And he smelled like he just took a shit. And 30 years after your father dies, all of a sudden you're hit with that smell.
Yep.
Right? Or you're sitting there just reading a book, cooking dinner, doing whatever, and you hear your grandmother call you out of nowhere. Yeah. And you're like, wait a second, what? Did I just hear, Mima? Did I just hear Nana? Like, what's going on? I believe that is the energy of our loved ones with us. So we get some of that. So when somebody goes and visits a medium, they're not, even though mediums will say, oh yeah, they're talking from heaven. Oh, they're right here in my ear. No. They're resonating probably through magnetic fields in the brain, because as you say, the brain we know nothing about our brain, nothing. That their brain just works at a frequency where it can tap into that energy.
That is a really cool perspective. Yeah. I like that. Yeah, and they're cherry picking the memories that are attached to the person.
Yep. And the evidence is there for it. And you know what's crazy too? The evidence is there on a whole nother level. You ever hear stories of somebody getting a heart transplant from a donor, and they get the heart transplant, and then like in 5 years, all of a sudden they like shrimp, they like classical music, all these things. They end up connecting with the family of the donor, and come to find out that person really likes shrimp and really likes classical music.
Yeah.
These things happen. So how does that happen?
Yeah.
How does that happen? Well, maybe there was some of those memories and some of that energy that went along with that heart. And now you have that person in you, not just, physically, but spiritually.
Yeah.
So there's evidence for this DNA memory. I mean, it just goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
So that theoretically, that's what I think is happening. And I've spoken to a lot of mediums and psychics, especially through Splintered Spirits, and it seems to be like they have it in their head that they're talking to the dead, from heaven, or they're coming down from heaven and they're right there. But in reality, it's like, how do you know that?
Right.
How do you know that? You don't know. You're saying that spirit's coming from heaven because they're talking to you, but in reality, it could be coming from the person right in front of you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we really don't know.
Yeah, we really don't know.
We don't. But John, I know you have to go, but I just want to say thank you so much for having us on your show. Thanks for being on our show.
Of course.
I could talk to you for hours.
I have 10 more minutes. I have 10 more minutes. Yeah, I'm sure. Okay. I got 10 more minutes.
I love the deep thought process from both you and Gary on these things. It's just, we talk to so many people, and Nate and I actually talked about it beforehand. It's like when you talk to certain investigators, it's the same. What's your favorite location? What do you like? What scares you? But to talking to you guys, it's so much more depth to it. And
there's a lot. Yeah. Well, what's wild with Gary is that, and if you go back and you watch the first episode of Splintered Spirits all the way and watch the lives, everything, all the way to now, you see his progression.
Really?
Okay, because both me and Gary are atheists, right?
Yeah.
We're both atheists, and most atheists do not believe in spirits.
True.
Yeah.
In fact, I get that all the time. John, if you're an atheist, how do you believe in spirits? And it's like, well, why do I have to believe in a God for energy to exist? That's neither here nor there. But you can watch Gary's progression. And I know he says, no, I'm not a skeptic, but you could just see the progression in his eyes opening more and more to the fact that something is there. Yeah. And it's actually really interesting. I told him he should write a book about it. I said, you should write a book, dude, and I guarantee it will come out just like that. That would be the underlining tone of it, is like this progression from someone who doesn't believe at all to just somebody who's like, okay, there's something going on here. I don't know what it is, but there's something popping off here.
Did he start out before this whole, before the show and before all of your investigations and stuff, did he start out as, it just says he joined. He must have heard us talking.
Yeah, he must have heard us talking. Yeah. Oh, he's back.
I didn't realize you were going to still be going. I made it back. I just had to drop my kid.
Oh, did you? Oh, perfect. Yeah, I told my kid.
So listen.
We were just talking about you.
Start over. Let's start over. Go back and start. Let's start over. What did I miss? Anything good?
Well, the funny thing is, we were literally just talking about you.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, I was talking about how if you go back,
how handsome I am.
Yeah, if you go back and watch episode 1 of Splintered Spirits, all the lives, all the episodes that dropped, you can see a very interesting progression.
Well, yeah, dude, I've learned a lot since the start of this.
Yeah, and it's just,
I've learned a lot. It's really been it is very fun for me. It's very fun and very creative and very interesting. And I've gotten to meet a lot of really interesting people and hear a lot of really interesting experiences, and it's like, I'll never knock somebody's experience. Like you said earlier, right? It's like, this is what people, this is what you felt. This is what you went through. And it's wild. And then it's such a big community that people have experienced certain things, right? Like I interviewed a guy, had a near-death experience, and he went to what you would traditionally call hell. Like the fire, demons and hellfire and brimstone and ripping his skin off. And it's like, and he flatlined, he had a bullet in his head. And it's like, we've got the x-ray of it, everything. And it's all right, dude. Like, the guy got scared straight for real,
Well, and that brings up a good point too, because near-death experiences, so many of them are very similar.
Yeah. This was what's known as a distressed near-death experience, right? So this is there's out of the amount of people who have near-death experiences, like there's a 10% of them have distressed, right? They're DNDEs, where it's like they went to hell or had a real bad run of it, right? And they can run the gamut of just I was investigating this for a show actually, and it was like one person's hell in a near-death experience was that literally sitting at a bar and they could not get the bartender's attention. That's life, but this is like for eternity. It felt like an eternity of like never getting a drink.
And on the same token of that, I went to a theater where they do a lot of bands play one popular theater, and I had a spirit say, "This is my heaven."
Oh.
So and that goes back to the whole singular perspective of one person. Like what happens when we die? Why I feel like we're not going to learn anything because it's that singular perspective of that one person. So.
Yeah, and that's interesting because, like we talked on your guys' show about the different vibrations and different levels of, what's heaven, what's hell versus just the vibration of the energy or whatever it is that we are after we die. There's a lot of question about somebody who takes their own life. Does that fall into, because in some religions and some
they go to hell.
You instantly go to hell, and so I wonder.
And so do babies.
Yeah, so do babies, right? They don't get baptized. Listen, I spoke to a spirit once named Walter, and Walter took his own life. And, the conversation got very, very heavy. And I said, Walter, can you do me a favor? Walter, are you happy? And he replied, yes. He said he was happy. So it really makes you think. Like it really makes you think. Now I wasn't able to get the details of why he took his own life, whether it was depression or whether it was illness. I couldn't get those details, but whatever the reason was, he was happy with his decision.
And I'm about to be very offensive right now. Not to you guys, but that shows how much BS religion feeds to us.
Of course.
You just got us going.
It's
because, like I said, I was born and raised
for
Catholic.
Entertainment purposes only.
Yes. So Gary said the most awesome thing to me last week. He goes, John, and we weren't even live. He goes, John, why do all these apps and all these psychics and all these mediums have to say entertainment purposes only, but the goddamn churches and religions of the world get to do whatever they want.
Would you love to see it? We thought about it. We thought about putting that on signs as a prank around every church.
Yeah, right. Entertainment purposes.
So that's like I wear a cross on my neck. I've always had a cross. I was born and raised Catholic. I was that family that went to church Sunday, Wednesday, Friday, all of it. And the one thing that I learned, it was not until I was older. So my husband is not Catholic. He is Baptist. And we won't name it, but my church would not marry us because he would not convert. And I'm like, so you're telling me he still believes in something, but you will not let us. It's not about being faithful. It's not about being together. It's not about you're pissed off because he's not Catholic. And I'm like, what bullshit is this? And then, with different things in the church, I'm like, you got I don't know. And that's why like people ask if I'm religious. And I'm like, I believe in things and I believe in angels and God and stuff like that. But that's why I say I'm my own religion.
Yeah. Well,
I bet if your husband was a 12-year-old boy, they would have let him in.
And I mean, it's all kinds of things. They don't allow birth control, but the Bible says be fruitful and multiply. Which one do you want? Don't drink, but Jesus had wine. What do you want? It's so contradicting that I can't stand it.
It sucks. It's gross. The whole thing's gross. Yeah. Everything about it's disgusting and gross. Yeah. And it's organized religion is terrible.
Yes. And my problem with it, talking about suicide is, to me, those people, I know people say they have a choice. I think it is a mental disorder. I don't think that they have a choice. I don't think that they're not going to be like, what, I'm just going to do this today because why the hell not? And I think that's, I don't know.
No, listen, I agree with you. Yeah. If somebody has a mental disorder, if somebody is sick, okay, and their brain is sick, and they end up taking their own life. The fact that that is vilified instead of, look, there's no compassion or evidence when it comes to religion and suicide. They look at it in such a strange and just ill-tempered view. It's not even funny. I don't understand it, and I've never understood it. It's like, if this person hung themselves, put a bullet in their head, whatever they did, if they did this, they did it for a reason.
Yes.
There was a reason behind it. And to turn around and say for that reason they're going to go and burn in hell without even knowing what it is, get at it. It makes
If they
no
were dressed
sense.
as a clown when they did it, would it be funnier?
Yeah.
Does that make it funny?
See, yeah, and that's where I agree with you. I don't think the whole heaven hell thing for me never really. I just couldn't get on board with it. Like, now if you're, Charles Manson and you're out killing people, okay, well, he didn't kill it. He had people do his dirty work.
Yeah.
But if we'll go Dahmer, because everyone knows that's my favorite. Well,
He's a mass murderer, not a serial killer.
That's true. But like Dahmer, and even looking at him, yes, he did these terrible, terrible things, but was it because of a mental illness? Because he was gay. He was not allowed to live his life. He had to hide himself. He had to do, and I just, if it's a true mental illness, not that people should go murdering people and eating them, but I don't think that's a straight ticket to hell.
Well, listen, we all know what happens when you suppress somebody's nature. Like, listen, I know, it's 2026. I firmly believe that if you are gay, it is a natural thing. We've seen it in lower animal species. Cats and dogs and everything in between are always fucking humping each other no matter what the sex. Okay. It is a natural thing. And to be told every day of your life, through your culture, through your religion, through your family, that it is wrong. I don't know the mental implications of what that would do to me.
Yeah.
Right.
Who knows how that would, So when talking about Dahmer, it's not a thing of, is he good or evil? It's, he should have been put down, because of the mental illness. Like, there's no way to stop that from happening. He's too far damaged.
Yeah.
To save lives, put him down type deal.
And the crazy thing with Dahmer, and I always go back to him because of this, is when he was living, I believe it was New York, or he was somewhere. He actually is from Ohio. We have a lot of weird people here. I'm
from Pennsylvania, right, Gary?
We have a lot of haunted places and a lot of killers. I don't know. Ohio, it's weird.
Not much to do in Ohio.
No.
Well, you know what's really crazy too? A lot of the occults that are in New York, like even the one the Son of Sam was a part of and all that, has ties and connections to Ohio.
Yeah, it's insane. Well, so Dahmer grew up here, but when he was originally like in his teens, late or early 20s, there were gay clubs that he was attending, and he was able to live out these, I don't want to say fantasies, but these instincts of him. And when those closed down and then it was considered a sin, that's when the killing started. And he said, because I dug really deep into it, I love to study the brain of killers. I want to understand them.
So she doesn't get caught.
Yeah, that's exactly
it.
The husband does the same thing.
Yeah.
All right, hey guys, listen, I do have to run now. This has been awesome. This has been awesome. Ashley, Nate, thank you so much for coming on Splintered Spirits and having us on here. This has been a blast. I'd love to do it again. I'd love to do it again.
Well, I don't know what you guys. I don't have to go anywhere. I can just hang here. Imagine if I overstay my welcome and Gary just won't leave.
I just guys,
have a good one.
He just ends. It's like, bye,
John.
dude. It's like, see ya. I don't know why he just keeps hanging around. It's like he didn't leave. The party ended like 3 hours ago.
I don't have to do anything special, right? I can just back out and that's it.
You can just
All
exit out.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you. You too.
Hey guys, now that he's gone, let's get into
now you can talk about him.
Now let's get into this podcast a little bit.
Yeah. Now tell us all the dirty secrets about him.
I don't know. What do you want to know?
Everything.
It is. I do think that he's he's got a higher level of something to get what he gets on his lives. It's like, now that I've gotten into it, there is I don't know what you talked about before, but it's I believe all of it is like use intuition a lot.
Intuition,
that's the word I use, in terms of some people, everyone has intuition.
Yeah.
But some people are just stronger than others, right? And that's where then you start to get into mediumship and all that and how that ever connects. And there's something about him that I think is, touched by, the other side.
I was wondering where
just
you were going to go with that.
Just touched. Yeah.
They just slightly stroke him.
Yeah. He's a different beast. I mean, it's like, there's just things he can do. Like that guy's live. He's going to be live probably for the next 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
He does it every night. And I don't know how he does that.
I would not have the energy for that. But he has a very magnetic personality too, which is why I think the viewers love watching him, because he has, and his thought process is what we were talking about before you got back, is we like normally our show's about 50 minutes to an hour, but Nate and I were like, we could talk to you guys forever because your thought process and the way that you guys kind of look at things is so much deeper than some other people in the field that we have talked to.
We first of all, I certainly try to do my research on this stuff, right? Before I meet, I watch you guys. I chat GBT it. I get, I write up my questions. I really dig. I ask people, I think Ashley, your name came from me from, it was a referral, from another person. I think it was Heidi Kemper, maybe.
It was Heidi.
We had her on as a guest, and, so I try to really come in at it from a place of, what's the new way to go through this. So, I've got an interview with Patty Negri coming up.
Yeah.
All right. So Patty's been around, everybody knows her. And I said to her, look, I don't want to do just an interview. Like, what's your scariest moment? What's the first thing you did? So she was kind enough to invite me into her house. And, it was like, I want you to give me a crash course on divination. And I'll learn about you through this shit, all this stuff that you're using and these things and this stuff, and that's kind of what we talked about, and then the business a little bit. And, but yeah, I try to do it. It's, again, I was a producer I still am a producer, that's my job. I was a development executive before that. So I try to look at things that way of, okay, how do I make it somewhat different and new and more enjoyable?
Yeah. And fun too.
Yeah. And fun.
Because sometimes, we've had people on where we're like, we try to ask different questions because we don't want to do that. What's your favorite location? Like you said, and they'll be like, I'll just say
stuff over and over.
Yeah, I'll use Hinsdale because that's, one of our friends. So like Hinsdale. We're like, okay,
and they give you you're pulling teeth, right? You're pulling teeth.
Yeah.
It's hard. It is hard. And some people just aren't they're just not going to have the stuff. Like John, when I first interviewed John, and I've interviewed a lot of people for various, look, I was at Discovery. I've done more shark shows and little people shows than anybody should ever do in their lifetime. But I've interviewed a lot of people, and it's like he just naturally does have that, not only like as we would say, like the gift of gab. He's got he know when I ask a question, he knew to answer it in a complete sentence, right? Like you use the question and the answer. And that's something you usually have to tell people when you interview them for TV, or for any reason, and he just knows, it's like, what's your favorite color? Blue. But he'll be like, my favorite color is, or something, whatever he does, but it's just there. Yeah. He's got that thing. He can sit there and talk to his community forever and forever and a day, which is wild to do. But for me, it's like, I get to, meet new people like you guys who have been playing in this space. And it's infectious, the love that you guys have, that the community has for the space. And it's just interesting the differences that people have. And I kind of like that just because I'm, it's like a gremlin. I like to pick at it, in terms of, listening to how people are so set in their ways.
Yeah.
Well, and I like to hear why people are in the field. Like I always tell people, like, I'm not in it because, people get into the field and there are some people that they want to be Zach Bagans. They want to make it to the top and make millions. Yeah. And then I'm like, listen, I'm not in this for money. I'm in this for meeting the people, but also, with what I went through as a child, it's like therapy for me. And I like meeting other people like that because I have had a ton of people that I've met where they said the same thing. They either experienced a tragedy or a loss very young, and this to them is their therapy to show that there's something else and that it's not lights out, we're done. Which makes, as stupid as it sounds, it makes losing someone a little bit easier.
It's not stupid. It's not stupid at all. I mean, yeah, like a lot of the people that I've met in this business are grief counselors, right? Especially, certainly a lot of mediums. You know, that's their main thing. For me, I'm in it straight up for the money. I mean, I want money to start. I would love money to start happening.
You did say you said you would sell out.
I would sell out in a fucking second. It's like, oh, what am I drinking on this? I'm drinking Pure Live iced tea. You know, like, I'll sell it, like give it to me. But you know, and it's
you're drinking demon juice. Don't forget.
Yeah, right. I'm only half kidding. Yes, I want this to make money. I want it to work. You know, I want it to become profitable. But I am having the most fun. I wouldn't do. Let me say something. I do it. I'm the one who does this, right? So it's like I book it, I shoot it, like I'm Nate. You know what I mean? I'm doing that tech stuff. John's, you know, brings the experience in the marketing, right? That's our split. You know, like that's kind of like what we do this. You know, like you're the guy who's out there. You sell it, I'll make it. You sell it, and then you help me with, you know, some of the with a ton of the information about this person or this space because you've been in it. You know, how do we want to hit it? So, but I wouldn't be doing this amount of work. It's a lot, bro. It's a lot of work. It is a lot. Yeah. It's people a lot. Don't realize that, but you know, it's a ton of work. And I'm trying to drop I try to drop like a clip a day, you know, and you know, you try to drop these things to promote it. And I'm constantly editing or interviewing and I'm, you know, we're backed up. And I'm nervous about not running out of guests and episodes. So we have episodes lined up till I think April at this point.
Oh my goodness.
You know, so we're far because I panic because anything can happen, right? Like we got to take the week off and I have to be ready to drop it in, or we can't shoot that week and I got to have it in the can. That's the only way I relax, and yet I'll never be relaxed.
Unless that's Nate.
It's crazy.
That's Nate. He'll message me on like Wednesday morning, be like, "So what's the show gonna be about?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, let's try and."
It's like, what are we gonna like? How are we gonna?
It's nice too because like a lot of people, like you said, the editing stuff. Some people think you can just do it like that. For say like we do the YouTube thing, our Travel Chronicles. That could sometimes take me close to 20 hours to put together.
Oh yeah.
Every little thing takes a lot of time.
We've done 3 episodes on location, you know, like just that are coming up, and those take, you know, and I don't have multi-camera shoot. I mean, it's like, and it just takes a lot. It's hard. And even these, you know, it's like, look, you know, it's not going to be perfect. I'm still going to have to download it. It's a little bit closer. It's a little less work, but it's work, you know, and it's why do it? You know, unless it's, I'm having a good time meeting people, meeting some good people, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's what people, I didn't know, but like Nate taught me, you know, not only do you have to edit, but then you have to do the audio, then you have to do the coloring, and then and people, they're like, oh no, you just throw it together and there it is. And nope. That's why I do all the evidence review, because I'm
talent. Ashley's like, I'm the talent.
That's what we tell
You're the producer. Yeah. So talent doesn't do that.
So Nate does all the editing. I do. Well, he says he can't sit and watch a camera for 12 hours to see if we caught anything. But I shut my brain off and I just watch it. So it works perfect.
That's
for
great.
me.
Yeah.
So it's a good dynamic. Over and over.
Yeah. I think, you know, I think I try to make a conscious decision to make this with guests, right? Our shows really, I really want to interview people. We go live. We have an episode every other Tuesday and we go live every Thursday. The lives are loose, you know, first of all, because sometimes there'll be a tech thing that happens, you know, or something, and it's always a little loose. But the ones where we don't have guests, I'm like, what are we going to do? You know, are we going to just sit here and what are you going to talk about? How are we going to, what are we going to cover? We got to hit something. I got to hit some points or recap. And, you know, if John can't make it or something, I'm like, oh, I got to do this by myself. It sucks.
It does.
You know, it's tough. You know, it is. It's a thing. It's like, who wants to sit here and listen to me all day for an hour even?
Well, the funny thing is, like, I can talk to myself for hours. You put me on here by myself and I'm like, hi guys, what do we do?
Right.
But oh my gosh, I cannot believe we've taken an hour and a half of your time. Well, that's
I came back into it. I was having a good time. I was so excited.
Yeah.
I like texted you guys, but I'm like, oh, they're not seeing the text. You know what I said? I'm like, I'm gonna
because
crash.
it's on airplane mode.
No, I'm like, I'm gonna crash it and see if they let me back in. I don't know
I'm
if
glad
they
you
leave it or not.
did.
Yeah.
Well, and it was perfect timing because we were just talking about you because John was telling us that he thinks you should write a book because he said if we go back and watch the very first episode all the way through to the very latest one, that you can see the progression of
For sure.
starting to see how you're opening up to things and believing things. And he's like, he should write a book. And I was just about to ask a question, and I was like, he knows we're talking about him. He just got back on. So it was perfect.
And he's right. You definitely see progression. The only thing I would disagree with is that I was never. I don't believe. Maybe I gave the impression of it, but I was never a non-believer. I think people, like I think I said this earlier, was that every time I would ask a question, even some people when I ask a question to, they think I'm setting them up to dunk on them or something. Yeah. And I'm like, no, dude, I'm legitimately asking this question because I have no idea what you're talking about. Yeah. I don't know what this is. So what, I could see you're being guarded, for, a setup. But certainly some influencers started that you could see it in the interview. They started that way and then they start to loosen up. Yeah. Like some of our earlier guests, they weren't sure because in what John does, man, that influencer thing, it's like they think they're Kendrick Lamar and Drake. They're so like they're roaring at each other, and I'm like, yep. Yeah. Do you guys realize you're talking about fucking ghosts? Like, what are you upset about? Like, why? Yes. But they do. Yeah. They really do, and it's and he'll get flagged a lot on his lives because of that. People, and it's like without merit. And TikTok is it's just.
They're the worst.
It's so bad. And it's, it's not a brand building site. It's a video site. So it's very difficult. And people, and you're guilty until proven innocent. So the moment someone makes a complaint about you, they're docking you. And then he has to go in, call his man, his live. He has his own dedicated person over there. Cause he is a top earner and a top influencer on there. And it's like, he's like, what is going on? And they have to get the flag off and all these things. It's just like, how do you live like that on this thing? And it's, and who's doing it? People who are, they feel he's taking away. It's like, guys, there's no shortage of views.
No,
there's no shortage of views.
Well, and that's the thing too, is even in the paranormal field in general, it's there are a really great group of people. So it's not everybody, but they look at it like a competition. And it's like, oh, well, you're going to this location. Well, now I have to go to a location. I have to make it better and scarier. And it's like, there is enough for everybody. Like social media is insane. There's no reason to be bashing or blocking or
I don't get it. It's I really don't.
Like high school.
Right? It's weird.
I'm too old for that. Yeah. I'm too old for
that. You guys are young. I mean, I'm old. It's a sort of, it is one of those things, man. It is a really weird sort of space of when you're trying to find out about, because people are, again, you're dealing with, there's a lot of religion in it, despite what people say, and it's very hard to convince people certain things. Yeah, there's a we got an episode with Chip Coffee coming up, and Chip comes at me a little bit. I don't think he didn't really like me asking certain questions, and he sort of he thought it was dunk. I think he thinks I was dunking on him, or I was questioning his faith a little bit. But not questioning it. I just wanted to understand, was he bringing that in? Anyway, you'll see it. It'll come out. But it's and I still disagree with some of the things you said about it. But, and you know what? And I looked at John. There was a moment in tonight where you talked about your husband, and he's Baptist, and there's a moment in the Chip interview. He says to me, he goes, he was raised Catholic. He said he was Christian, and I go, what? And it's like, he's like, he's Catholic, and I go, oh well, that's not the same. That's not the same. He goes, and he was like, it's the same. And I wasn't going to, and he was really firm about it. And I'm not going to argue with him. I'm trying to keep him as a guest. I'm not going to sit there and go, but it's not the same. Even remotely the same. It's like all Catholics are Christian, but not all Christians are Catholic.
Yes.
And that's just the way it is. And when you use the word Christian, most people use the phrase Christian as Baptist, evangelical, Protestant. Catholic is a separate thing. And it's just a whole different. So, and I just feel like, anyway, I could tell he was, I think he thought I was dunking on him, trying to but I wasn't. But by the way, it was a wonderful interview. He's a great guy. We get along great. But it's a good interview because there's that thing, and he thinks I'm like this skeptic thing. And I'm like, no, dude, you know. But that's what happens when you question in this field. I'm finding.
Well, and that's what the sad part about it is too, is that these people feel like they have to be guarded, and they have to almost put that not boundary, but they have to put that wall up, like, and kind of feel it out, because there are people who would try to get them caught up or say the wrong thing, or I mean, 6 months ago, people were bashing him for something.
Yeah, you know, John gets hit up because it's like, you know, he's not ghost hunting, right? And as John, I don't know if he mentioned it or if we forgot to. He's 100. He's always said for 5 years, like, I'm not a ghost hunter. I'm not investigating. I just document.
And the thing is, there's just no right way. Like, everybody does their own way. There is no way to do it.
So
like,
fun.
You do however you want.
There's like John said, he's not a professional. Nobody is a professional ghost hunter.
There's no experts.
We're literally all guessing and winging it for the most part, and hoping something happens.
Well, guys, I will let you go. I don't know how I'm keeping you on the air now or what.
No,
you're fine. You're fine.
No, yeah, thank you.
I picture you guys texting each other like, do we just
I don't even know.
What's he?
No, if that was the case, I'd be like, oh, technical difficulties end.
Can somebody what do we do? He won't leave the fucking thing.
Not leaving.
I had such a good time. I had a really good time talking to you guys. If you're ever in LA, let me know. If I'm ever in Ohio, I might consider calling to see about going to that place. No, but I would. If I'm ever in Ohio, I'm like, who do I know in Ohio? I know like one person. It's Ashley.
Me.
So
and we will take you to some badass locations, because there's some
I love
out
it, guys.
here.
This was super fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Ashley, I don't know if earlier fully uploaded on my end. I'll send you an email to fix that. But otherwise, guys, good luck with everything, and I'll be watching. And I thank your fans too and your audience. I really appreciate them for. And
before you go, John already did it, but one last time, tell everybody where they can watch and where they can find you guys.
Oh, guys, it's Splintered Spirits everywhere. So I think the only place it's called Splintered Spirits Pod is on Insta, but otherwise we are Splintered Spirits on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Facebook. Just, you know, we're all over. SplinteredSpirits.com. That's where you take you everywhere. Try to keep it clean and simple, and that's. But yes, thank you for that.
Yes,
that's where we are.
Thank you so much for being on. Thank you for having us on. It's been a blast, and like I said, I could talk to you guys for hours.
Yep.
Well, we'll do it soon. We'll definitely do it again. If you catch a killer or something weird, like, I want to hear about it.
I will.
At least like, just shoot me a text or something. Like, dude, check out tonight's episode. Like, I want to.
I'm gonna be like,
I want to try to check, and I want to come in.
I'm on the 8:00 news because I snapped.
We're gonna do a podcast about her.
Oh my god! You open that closet back there, and it's like
that's where I hide the bodies.
Yeah, right. Nuts.
But
right,
thank you so much. I hope you guys have a great night, and we will see everybody in 2 weeks. So good night.
Thank you.